Marcus Wellington stepped out of La Bella Vista restaurant into the bright afternoon sun. He adjusted his expensive sunglasses and smiled to himself. Lunch had been perfect. The food was excellent, the wine was from France, and the business deal he just closed would make him even richer than he already was. He was 52 years old and owned one of the biggest technology companies in America. His company made software that millions of people used every day. He had 3 homes, 5 cars, and more money than he could spend in 10 lifetimes. Life was good for Marcus Wellington. His driver, James, was waiting by the black Mercedes parked at the curb. The car was shiny and new. It cost more than most people earned in 5 years. Marcus walked slowly toward it, checking his phone for messages. He had another meeting in an hour. This one was about buying a smaller company. Just another Tuesday for Marcus. But then he noticed something. Or rather, someone. A young girl was sitting on the sidewalk just a few feet from the restaurant entrance. She was leaning against the brick wall, her knees pulled up to her chest. Her clothes were dirty and torn in places. Her hair was messy and looked like it had not been washed in days. Next to her was a piece of cardboard with words written in black marker. The sign said, "Hungry, anything helps." The girl looked up as Marcus passed. She was young, maybe 15 or 16 years old. Her face was thin and there were dark circles under her eyes. She looked tired, very tired, but there was something in her eyes that caught Marcus's attention for just a second. They were not the defeated eyes he usually saw in homeless people. There was something strong in them, something that refused to give up. Marcus looked away quickly. He did not like seeing homeless people. They made him uncomfortable. They reminded him of things he preferred not to think about. He believed that people who were successful worked hard for it, and people who were homeless had made bad choices. It was simple in his mind. "Excuse me, sir," the girl said softly. Her voice was quiet but clear. "Could you spare anything?" "I have not eaten in 2 days." Marcus stopped walking. He turned to look at her again. 2 days without food? He had just eaten a meal that cost $300. The wine alone was $80 a glass. He could easily give her $20. It would mean nothing to him, but Marcus did not reach for his wallet. Before he could say anything, the restaurant door opened behind him. Giovanni, the owner of La Bella Vista, came rushing out. Giovanni was a short man with a round belly and a thick mustache. His face was red with anger. "You again?" Giovanni shouted at the girl. "I told you yesterday not to sit here. You are bad for my business. My customers do not want to see you when they come to eat." The girl pulled her backpack closer to her body but did not move. She did not say anything. She just looked down at the ground. "I am calling the police this time," Giovanni continued, waving his hands in the air. "You cannot stay here. Go somewhere else." Marcus watched this scene with interest. He had known Giovanni for 5 years. He ate at La Bella Vista at least twice a month. It was one of the best Italian restaurants in Manhattan, and Giovanni always gave him the best table. "Having trouble, Giovanni?" Marcus asked, putting his hands in his pockets. Giovanni turned to him and smiled, though his face was still red. "Ah, Mr. Wellington, I am so sorry you have to see this. This girl has been here since this morning. I try to run a good restaurant, you know. My customers are important people. They do not want to step over homeless people to get inside." Marcus nodded. He understood. He would not want to see a homeless person outside his office building either. It would look bad. "Please, sir," the girl said again, looking up at Marcus. "I am not causing trouble. I will move if you want. But please, could you help me get some food first? Just a little food, anything." Marcus looked down at her. She was so young. Part of him felt something he did not expect. Was it pity, sympathy? He was not sure, but he pushed that feeling away quickly. He had learned long ago not to let emotions control his decisions. Business was business. Life was about being smart and working hard. People who ended up on the streets had failed to do one or both of those things. Then Marcus noticed something else. About 30 feet away, near the corner, there was a man playing a violin. He was older, maybe in his 60s, with white hair and worn clothes. Not quite homeless, but clearly poor. His violin case was open on the ground in front of him, and there were a few dollar bills and some coins inside. People walking by would stop sometimes, listen for a moment, and drop money into the case. Marcus looked at the violin player, then back at the girl. An idea came to him. He thought it was clever. He even smiled a little. "You know something?" Marcus said to the girl. His voice was casual, almost friendly. That man over there is playing music. He is earning his money. People give him money because he is doing something. He is providing entertainment. He is working for it. The girl looked confused. She glanced at the violin player, then back at Marcus. If you cannot play, no food, Marcus continued. And then he laughed. It was not a mean laugh exactly, but it was not kind either. It was the laugh of someone who thought he was very clever. Everyone has to earn their keep in this world. That is just how life works. You want money? You want food? Then do something for it. Sing a song, dance, do something to earn it. Giovanni laughed too. Mr. Wellington is right. You cannot just sit there and expect people to give you money for nothing. The girl's face changed. The tiredness was still there, but now there was something else, hurt and anger. Her jaw tightened and her hands made fists. But she still did not say anything. She just stared at Marcus with those strong eyes. Marcus felt uncomfortable under her gaze. He did not like it. He was used to people respecting him, agreeing with him. This girl was just staring at him like she could see right through him. Like she knew something about him that he did not know about himself. Come on, girl, Giovanni said, making shooing motions with his hands. Move along now. Go find somewhere else to beg. Slowly the girl stood up. She picked up her cardboard sign and her small backpack. The backpack looked old and had patches sewn onto it. She slung it over one shoulder. She was shorter than Marcus had thought. Maybe 5 feet 3 or 4 inches. She was very thin. Too thin. For just a moment, the girl looked directly at Marcus. There was no begging in her eyes now. No pleading. Just something cold and distant. Then she turned and walked away without saying a word. She did not look back. Marcus watched her go. She walked with her head down, her shoulders hunched against the world. She turned a corner and disappeared from sight. Thank you, Mr. Wellington, Giovanni said, patting Marcus on the shoulder. You are very wise. These young people today, they think everything should be given to them. They do not want to work for anything. Marcus nodded absently. He was still thinking about the girl's eyes. That look she had given him. Why did it bother him? He shook his head and pushed the thought away. Your lunch today was excellent as always, Giovanni, Marcus said, pulling out his wallet. He took out 5 $100 bills. Here, this is for you. Keep the change from lunch. Giovanni's eyes went wide. Lunch had been $300. Marcus was giving him a $200 tip. Mr. Wellington, this is too much. You run a good restaurant, Marcus said with a wave of his hand. You deserve it, and thank you for handling that situation. You are right. We cannot have people like that bothering customers. Giovanni thanked him many more times. Marcus finally walked to his car where James was holding the door open. Marcus slid into the back seat. The leather was cool and soft. The car smelled like expensive cologne and new car smell. Where to, sir? James asked, getting into the driver's seat. The office, and Marcus said, I have a meeting at 2:30. As the car pulled away from the curb, Marcus looked out the window. He saw the violin player still performing on the corner. A woman stopped and put $1 in his case. The man smiled and nodded his thanks, never stopping his playing. If you cannot play, no food, Marcus said to himself quietly, and he smiled again. He pulled out his phone and started reading emails. There were 43 new ones since lunch. He began typing responses, his fingers moving quickly over the screen. The homeless girl was already forgotten. He had more important things to think about. A company to run, deals to make, money to earn. The Mercedes moved smoothly through the Manhattan traffic, past expensive shops and tall buildings, past people in business suits walking quickly to their next meeting, past tourists taking pictures, past a food cart where the smell of hot dogs and pretzels filled the air, and past other homeless people too. An old man sleeping on a bench, a woman with shopping bags full of her belongings, a young man holding a sign asking for work. Marcus did not see any of them, or if he did not really see them. They were just part of the city background. Like trees or mailboxes, just there, not really important. James drove carefully, following the GPS to avoid traffic. Marcus kept working on his phone. He answered emails. He checked stock prices. His company stock was up 3% today. That was good. That meant he was about $18 million richer than he had been yesterday. Not that he needed it, but it was nice to see the numbers go up. Sir, we are here, James said 20 minutes later, pulling up in front of a tall glass building. This was Wellington Technologies headquarters. 57 floors of steel and glass. Marcus's office was on the top floor, of course. The view was amazing. He could see all of Manhattan from up there. Sometimes he stood at his window and looked down at the people below. They looked like ants from that height, small and busy and not very important. Marcus got out of the car. "Pick me up at 6, he told James. "Yes, sir," James said and drove away to park the car. Marcus walked through the revolving doors into the lobby. It was all marble and glass. Modern art hung on the walls. A fountain in the center made pleasant sounds. The security guard at the desk smiled at him. "Good afternoon, Mr. Wellington," the guard said. "Good afternoon, Frank," Marcus replied. He always remembered names. It was good business practice. People liked it when you remembered their name. He took the private elevator to the 57th floor. The elevator was fast and smooth. Soft music played. In 30 seconds, he was at the top. The doors opened into a large reception area. His secretary, Patricia, looked up from her desk and smiled. "Good afternoon, Mr. Wellington. Your 2:30 is waiting in the conference room, and your wife called. She said to remind you about dinner tonight at 7. Marcus nodded. "Thank you, Patricia. Please send flowers to my wife. The usual. And confirm my reservation at Massa for tonight. Table for 2, 7 o'clock. "Already done, sir," Patricia said efficiently. Marcus smiled. Patricia was the best secretary he had ever had. She knew what he needed before he asked for it. That was worth a lot. He walked down the hall to the conference room. Through the glass walls, he could see 3 people sitting at the long table waiting for him. They all stood up when he entered. They all smiled. They all shook his hand and told him how happy they were to meet with him. Marcus sat at the head of the table and began the meeting. They talked about software and market share and profit margins. They talked about acquisition terms and stock options, numbers and contracts and lawyers. This was Marcus's world. This was what he was good at. He never thought about the homeless girl again that day. He did not think about her during the meeting, which lasted 2 hours. He did not think about her when he called his wife to confirm dinner plans. He did not think about her when James drove him home to change into a fresh suit. He did not think about her during the expensive dinner with his wife at one of the best restaurants in New York, where they ate sushi that cost $500 and drank sake that was older than Marcus himself. He did not think about her at all. Why would he? She was nobody. Just another homeless person on the streets of a big city. There were thousands of them. You could not help them all, and most of them did not want to help themselves anyway. That was what Marcus believed. That was what made it easy for him to forget her. But sometimes, just before he fell asleep that night in his king-sized bed in his penthouse apartment, he saw those eyes again. Those strong, hurt, angry eyes staring at him. And he heard his own voice in his head saying, "If you cannot play, no food." He pushed the thought away and went to sleep. After all, he had another busy day tomorrow. 3 days passed quickly for Marcus Wellington. They were busy days filled with meetings, phone calls, and decisions that involved millions of dollars. He closed the deal to buy the smaller software company. He attended a board meeting where everyone agreed with everything he said. He played golf with a senator. He made more money in those 3 days than most people made in their entire lives. He did not think about the homeless girl even once. On Saturday evening, Marcus put on his most expensive tuxedo. It was custom-made in Italy and cost $12,000. His wife, Catherine, wore a diamond necklace that Marcus had bought her for their anniversary. The diamonds caught the light and sparkled like stars. The necklace alone was worth more than a nice house. They were going to Carnegie Hall for a charity gala. This was a big event, the kind where rich people wore their best clothes, drank champagne, and wrote large checks to feel good about themselves. Marcus attended several of these events every month. They were part of his life, part of what people expected from someone as wealthy as him. Tonight's gala was for a music program, something about helping young people learn to play instruments. Marcus had not really read the details. His company was one of the main sponsors, which meant his name would be in the program and mentioned during the speeches. That was good for business, good for his image. People liked doing business with companies that supported charity. "What is this event for again?" Catherine asked as James drove them through the city toward Carnegie Hall. "Music education for underprivileged youth," Marcus said, reading from his phone. "Something like that. Wellington Technologies is sponsoring it. Good publicity." Catherine nodded. She was used to these events. They had been married for 28 years, and they attended at least 2 or 3 charity galas every month. After a while, they all seemed the same. Different causes, same people, same champagne, same small talk. The car pulled up in front of Carnegie Hall. There were photographers outside taking pictures of people arriving. Marcus and Catherine smiled for the cameras. Flashbulbs went off. Someone called out Marcus's name. He waved. This was normal for him. He was used to being recognized. Inside, the lobby was beautiful. High ceilings with gold decorations, crystal chandeliers hanging down, waiters in white jackets walking around with trays of champagne and tiny food that was too small to actually fill anyone up. Marcus grabbed a glass of champagne and began talking to people he knew. There was Robert Harrison, who owned a chain of hotels, and Sandra Mitchell, who ran a hedge fund, and David Chen, who was a famous lawyer. All rich people, all successful people, all people who, like Marcus, believed they had earned everything they had through hard work and smart decisions. "Marcus," called a voice. It was Thomas Bradford, who sat on the board of 3 different companies. He walked over with a big smile and shook Marcus's hand hard. "Good to see you. Your company's sponsorship really made this event possible. Thank you for that." "Happy to help," Marcus said, which was not exactly true. He was happy to have his company's name associated with charity, but he did not really care much about the actual cause. "What does this program do exactly?" "Oh, it is wonderful," Thomas said enthusiastically. "They provide musical instruments and lessons to kids who cannot afford them. Kids from shelters, foster care, poor neighborhoods. Some of these kids have real talent. You will see tonight. They are performing." Marcus nodded politely. He sipped his champagne and looked around the lobby. Everyone was dressed in expensive clothes. Everyone was smiling and laughing and talking about vacations and business deals. This was his world. These were his people. A bell rang, signaling that it was time to go into the concert hall. Marcus and Catherine found their seats. Of course, they had the best seats in the house. Front row center. Another benefit of being a major sponsor. The concert hall filled up quickly. There must have been 2,000 people there, all dressed in their finest. The lights dimmed and everyone got quiet. A woman walked out onto the stage. She was maybe 60 years old with gray hair pulled back in a bun. She wore a simple black dress and carried a microphone. "Good evening, everyone," she said, her voice warm and strong. "My name is Linda Chen, and I am the director of the Shelter Music Initiative. Thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you especially to our sponsors, particularly Wellington Technologies and Mr. Marcus Wellington." Everyone clapped. Some people looked at Marcus. He smiled and nodded. Catherine squeezed his hand. "Tonight," Mrs. Chen continued, "you will hear performances from some of our students. These are young people who have faced incredible challenges in their lives. They have experienced poverty, homelessness, family separation, and loss. But they have not given up. Music has given them hope. Music has given them a voice. Music has given them a future." Marcus only half listened. He was thinking about a meeting he had on Monday. He pulled out his phone to check his email, but Catherine gave him a look that said, "Put that away," so he did. Mrs. Chen was still talking. "We have several performers tonight. They will play violin, cello, trumpet, and piano. Some of them learned to play in traditional schools before circumstances changed their lives. Others taught themselves using whatever resources they could find. All of them have something important to say through their music." The first performer was a boy about 12 years old. He played trumpet. He was good, Marcus supposed, though he did not know much about music. The audience clapped when he finished. Then came a girl on cello, then 2 boys on violin. They were all fine. Marcus clapped politely after each performance, but he was getting bored. He wondered how long this would last. He wanted to get to the reception afterward where he could network with other business people. "And now," Mrs. Chen said, "for our final performance of the evening. This is a very special one. 2 months ago, one of our outreach volunteers heard someone playing on a public piano in a subway station. The playing was so beautiful that a crowd had gathered. The volunteer waited to meet this musician and discovered she was a young woman who had been living on the streets. Marcus started paying a bit more attention. A homeless person who played piano? That was unusual. This young woman had no formal training," Mrs. Chen continued. "She taught herself to play by watching videos online and practicing whenever she could find a piano. When we invited her to join our program, we discovered something extraordinary. She is not just good, she is exceptional. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce Emma Rodriguez, performing Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2. The audience clapped. Marcus looked at his program. Rachmaninoff. He had heard that name before. Some famous classical composer. Russian, he thought. A young woman walked onto the stage. She was wearing a simple black dress that looked borrowed. Her hair was pulled back neatly. She walked with her head up, confident but not arrogant. She reached the piano, turned to face the audience, and bowed slightly. That was when Marcus froze. His breath caught in his throat. His heart started beating faster. Catherine noticed and looked at him with concern. "Marcus, are you all right?" She whispered. Marcus could not answer. He was staring at the young woman on stage. It was her. The homeless girl from 3 days ago. The one outside La Bella Vista. The one he had laughed at. The one he had told, "If you cannot play, no food." But she looked different now. Her face was clean. Her hair was neat. She was not wearing dirty, torn clothes. She looked almost like any other young woman. But it was definitely her. Those eyes. Marcus recognized those eyes. "Marcus," Catherine whispered again, more urgently this time. "I know her," Marcus said quietly. His voice sounded strange to himself. "What? How? I saw her a few days ago. Outside a restaurant." Before Catherine could ask more questions, Emma sat down at the piano. She adjusted the bench slightly. She placed her hands over the keys. The concert hall became completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Then Emma began to play. And everything changed. Marcus had been to many concerts in his life. He had heard famous pianists play. He had heard orchestras perform. He had been to the opera. But he had never heard anything like this. The music that came from the piano was incredible. It was powerful and soft at the same time. It was sad and beautiful. It was angry and gentle. Emma's fingers moved across the keys like they were dancing. Her whole body moved with the music. Her eyes were closed and there was an expression on her face that Marcus had never seen before. It was like she was somewhere else. Somewhere far away. The music told a story. Marcus did not know how music could tell a story, but this music did. It spoke of sadness and loss. It spoke of struggle and pain. But it also spoke of strength. Of refusing to give up. Of hope that would not die no matter what happened. Marcus found himself leaning forward in his seat. He forgot about his phone. He forgot about his Monday meeting. He forgot about everything except the music. The sounds filled the concert hall and seemed to fill his chest too. His throat felt tight. His eyes felt wet. Was he crying? When was the last time he had cried? He could not remember. Around him other people were having the same reaction. Some people had tears running down their faces. Some had their hands over their hearts. Everyone was completely still, completely captured by the music. That family moved away when Emma was 15, Mrs. Chen said sadly. Emma was placed with a new family on the other side of the city. She tried to keep going to her music school, but it was too far. The commute was 3 hours each way. She could not manage it. She had to drop out. Mrs. Chen paused to take a sip of water. Marcus waited, his stomach churning. The new family was not good, Mrs. Chen said quietly. There were problems. I cannot share all the details, but Emma had to leave. She was 16 by then. She tried to stay with friends, but that did not work out. For the past 6 months, she has been living on the streets. She stays in shelters when she can, but many of them are full or unsafe. She has been trying to survive while also trying to save money for her GED test. But the piano, Marcus asked. How did she keep playing? Public pianos, Mrs. Chen said. There are pianos in some subway stations, in parks, in community centers. Emma would find them and play whenever she could. That is how our volunteer found her. Emma was playing in a subway station, and a crowd of maybe 100 people had gathered to listen. Our volunteer knew immediately that Emma was special. Marcus felt like he might be sick. This girl had been through so much. Lost her mother. Lost her father. Moved from place to place. Ended up on the streets. And still she kept playing. Still she created beauty. Still she refused to give up, and he had laughed at her. He had mocked her. He had told her she needed to earn her food. Mr. Wellington? Mrs. Chen said. Are you all right? You look pale. I need to meet her, Marcus said suddenly. Can I meet Emma? Mrs. Chen looked surprised. Well, I can ask her. She is here somewhere. But Mr. Wellington, I should tell you that Emma is very private. She does not like a lot of attention, and she does not trust wealthy people very much. She has been let down by many adults in her life. Please, Marcus said. I need to talk to her. It is important. Mrs. Chen studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. I will ask her, but I cannot promise anything. Mrs. Chen stood up and walked away into the crowd. Marcus sat there, his hands gripping the arms of the chair. Catherine came over. What is going on? She asked. You have been acting strange since that girl played. I did something terrible, Marcus said quietly. 3 days ago I did something terrible and I did not even know it. Before Catherine could respond, Mrs. Chen came back. She was alone. I found Emma, Mrs. Chen said, but she does not want to meet you, Mr. Wellington. Marcus felt like he had been punched in the stomach. Did you tell her who I am? Yes, Mrs. Chen said. That is why she does not want to meet you. She said, and I quote, I do not want charity from people like him. I am sorry, Mr. Wellington, I tried. Marcus stood up quickly. Where is she? I need to apologize. She already left, Mrs. Chen said. She went out the back door. Marcus looked toward the back of the lobby. He could see the exit door closing. For a moment he thought about running after her. But what would he say? What could he say? Sorry I mocked you when you were hungry and desperate. Sorry I thought you were worthless. Sorry I judged you based on where you were sitting instead of who you were as a person. If you cannot play, no food, Marcus whispered to himself. Those words now felt like knives cutting into him. She could play. She could play beautifully. And he had judged her without knowing anything about her. Catherine touched his arm gently. Marcus, what happened 3 days ago? Marcus looked at his wife. They had been married for almost 30 years, but he was not sure he wanted to tell her this. He was not sure he wanted to admit what kind of person he had been, what kind of person he still was, but she deserved to know. And maybe saying it out loud would make it real. Would force him to face what he had done. So Marcus told her. He told her about leaving the restaurant, about seeing Emma on the sidewalk, about Giovanni yelling at her, about the violin player on the corner, and about his own words, his own laughter, his own cruelty. When he finished, Catherine was quiet for a long time. She looked at him with an expression he had never seen before. Disappointment, sadness? He was not sure. That was not kind, Marcus, she finally said softly. I know, Marcus said. I know it was not kind. But at the time I thought I was right. I thought I was teaching her something about how the world works. I thought... He trailed off, not knowing how to finish. You thought she was worthless, Catherine said. You thought homeless people were worthless. Marcus wanted to argue. He wanted to say that was not what he thought. But it was. That was exactly what he thought. Maybe not in those exact words. But yes, that was what he believed. What are you going to do? Catherine asked. Marcus looked around the lobby. All these rich people. All these successful people. All people like him who probably thought the same things he thought. Who probably walked past homeless people every day without really seeing them. Who probably believed that success was just about working hard and making good choices. I do not know, Marcus said honestly, but I have to do something. I cannot just forget this. Marcus and Catherine stayed at the reception for another hour, but Marcus was not really there. His mind was somewhere else. He kept thinking about Emma, about her music, about her strength, about everything she had been through and how she had not given up. When they finally left and got back in the car, Marcus was quiet. James drove them home through the city streets. They passed a homeless man sleeping on a sidewalk. Marcus had passed that spot hundreds of times before and had never really noticed. Now he looked. Really looked, the man was old. He had a blanket wrapped around him that was dirty and full of holes. Next to him was a cup with a few coins in it. As Marcus watched, a young couple walked past. They did not look at the man. They talked and laughed, completely unaware that he existed, just like Marcus had been unaware, just like Marcus had chosen not to see. Stop the car, Marcus said suddenly. Sir? James said, confused. Stop the car, Marcus repeated. James pulled over. Marcus got out, not really knowing what he was going to do. He walked back to where the homeless man was sleeping. Catherine got out too and followed him. Marcus stood there for a moment looking down at the sleeping man. Then he pulled out his wallet. He took out all the cash he had. It was about $400. He bent down and gently placed it in the cup, trying not to wake the man. The man stirred anyway. He opened his eyes and looked up at Marcus with confusion. "Thank you," the man said in a rough voice. "God bless you." Marcus nodded, not trusting himself to speak. He walked back to the car. Catherine took his hand. They got in and James drove them home. That night, Marcus could not sleep. He lay in his bed staring at the ceiling. He kept hearing Emma's music in his head. That beautiful, painful, hopeful music. He kept seeing her eyes when she had looked at him 3 days ago. After he had told her to earn her food. After he had laughed, he had thought she was nobody. He had been so wrong. And if he was wrong about her, what else was he wrong about? How many other people had he judged without knowing their stories? How many opportunities to be kind had he missed because he thought people needed to earn his kindness? Marcus had always believed he was a good person. He donated to charity. He sponsored events. He wrote checks. But was that enough? Was that really being good? Or was it just buying a reputation? Just making himself feel better about having so much when others had so little? These questions circled in his mind all night. He did not have answers. But he knew one thing. Something had changed in him tonight. Something important. Something that could not be unchanged. He thought about Emma. Wherever she was right now. Was she in a shelter? Was she on the street? Was she safe? And he thought about what she had said to Mrs. Chen. "I do not want charity from people like him." She was right. She did not want his charity, and she should not have to want it. What she deserved was respect, dignity, opportunity, all the things Marcus took for granted every single day of his life. As the sun started to rise outside his window, Marcus made a decision. He did not know exactly what he was going to do yet, but he knew he had to do something. Something real. Something that mattered. Because a girl who could create beauty like Emma had created deserved more than this world was giving her. And Marcus Wellington needed to figure out how to help make that happen without it being about him, his money, or his need to feel better about himself. It was going to be harder than any business deal he had ever made. But for the first time in a long time, Marcus felt like he was about to do something that actually mattered. Marcus did not go to his office on Monday. For the first time in 15 years, he called Patricia and told her to cancel all his meetings. She sounded shocked. Marcus Wellington never canceled meetings, but he did not care. He had something more important to do. He sat in his home office and started making phone calls. The first call was to Mrs. Linda Chen from the Shelter Music Initiative. She sounded surprised to hear from him so soon. "Mrs. Chen," Marcus said, "I would like to know more about your program, and I would like to know more about Emma Rodriguez." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Mr. Wellington, as I told you Saturday night, Emma is very private. I cannot share personal information about her without her permission." "I understand," Marcus said, "but can you tell me about her situation? About what she needs? Not specific details, just general things, please." Mrs. Chen was quiet for a moment. Then she sighed. "Why are you so interested in Emma specifically, Mr. Wellington? We have many talented students in our program." Marcus had been expecting this question. He had practiced his answer. "Because I saw her a few days before the performance. I saw her when she was struggling, and I did nothing to help. Worse than nothing. I was cruel to her. Now I know who she is, what she can do, and I cannot stop thinking about it." "I see," Mrs. Chen said slowly. "Well, that is honest at least. What is it you want to know?" "Everything that you can tell me," Marcus said. "What is her situation now? Where is she living? What does she need?" Mrs. Chen took a deep breath. "All right, I can tell you some things. Emma is 16 years old. She will turn 17 in 2 months. She is technically still in the foster care system, but her current placement is temporary and ends next month. After that, she will likely be living on the streets again full-time." Marcus wrote this down on a notepad. "What about school?" "Emma dropped out of high school last year," Mrs. Chen said. "She was failing because she kept getting moved to different foster homes. It was impossible for her to stay in one school. Right now she is studying for her GED on her own, but she has not been able to afford to take the test yet." "How much does the test cost?" Marcus asked. "About $150, Mrs. Chen said. "Not much to you or me, Mr. Wellington, but to Emma it might as well be $1 million. Marcus felt that familiar sick feeling in his stomach. $150. He had probably paid more than that for the wine at dinner on Saturday night. And Emma could not afford it. What about her music? Marcus asked. What does she need for that? She needs everything, Mrs. Chen said. Formal lessons, which she has never had. Time to practice, which is hard when you are worried about where you will sleep that night. Eventually, if she wants to pursue music professionally, she will need to apply to conservatories. But that requires an address, a legal guardian, transcripts, and money for applications. Emma has none of those things. Marcus wrote faster. The list was long. Too long. Our program helps, Mrs. Chen continued. We give Emma a safe place to practice. We have started giving her lessons with a volunteer teacher. We are trying to help her find stable housing. But we are a small organization with limited resources. We have 23 students and all of them need help. What would make the biggest difference for Emma right now? Marcus asked. If you could give her one thing, what would it be? Mrs. Chen did not hesitate. Stability. A safe place to live. Somewhere she did not have to worry about every single day. If Emma had stable housing, everything else would be easier. She could focus on her GED. She could practice more. She could start thinking about her future instead of just trying to survive today. Marcus nodded, even though Mrs. Chen could not see him. Thank you for telling me this. I want to help. What is the best way to do that? You can donate to our program, Mrs. Chen said. That helps all our students, including Emma. I will do that, Marcus said. But I want to do more. Can I meet with you in person tomorrow? I want to understand your program better and see how I can really help. Mrs. Chen agreed. They set up a meeting for Tuesday afternoon at the program's office in Brooklyn. After they hung up, Marcus sat back in his chair and looked at his notes. The list of things Emma needed was overwhelming. But Marcus had built a company from nothing. He knew how to solve problems. He just had to approach this the right way. But how? He could not just throw money at Emma. She had already refused to meet him. She did not trust him. She did not want his charity. And she was right not to want it. Charity felt like pity. It felt like, I am better than you, so here, let me help you. That was not what Emma needed. Marcus spent the rest of Monday researching. He read about the foster care system. He read about youth homelessness. He read about music education. He read statistics that made him angry and sad. Did you know that 20% of young people who age out of foster care become homeless within a year? Did you know that many homeless youth do not go to shelters because they are dangerous or full? Did you know that talented young people give up on their dreams every day, simply because they do not have the basic support they need? Marcus had not known any of this. Or maybe he had known it in an abstract way, but he had never really thought about it. These were just numbers in news articles, not real people with real lives and real talents, but Emma was real. Her music was real. Her struggle was real. And because Marcus had met her, because he had heard her play, because he could not forget her eyes, she had become real to him in a way that statistics never could. That night, Catherine found Marcus in his office surrounded by papers and reports. She brought him dinner on a tray because he had forgotten to eat. You have been in here all day, she said, setting down the tray. What are you doing? Research, Marcus said. Did you know that there are 4,000 homeless youth in New York City alone? 4,000 young people with no place to go, and those are just the ones we know about. Catherine sat down in the chair across from his desk. This is about that girl, is it not? Emma. Yes, Marcus said. I cannot stop thinking about her. About what I said to her. About what she must have thought of me. About what she is going through right now while I sit in this penthouse with everything I could ever need. You cannot save everyone, Marcus, Catherine said gently. I know, Marcus said, but maybe I can help this one person. And maybe if I can figure out how to really help her, not just throw money at her, but really help her, then maybe I can help others too. Catherine smiled. It was a small smile, but it was genuine. I have not seen you this passionate about anything in years. Not since you first started your company. Marcus looked at her in surprise. What do you mean? You have been successful for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to care about something beyond success, Catherine said. Do you know what you talk about at dinner? Business, stocks, deals, money. When was the last time we talked about something that really mattered? Something that was about people instead of profits? Marcus did not have an answer for that. Catherine was right. When had he stopped caring about things beyond his company? When had making money become his only goal? I think this is good for you, Catherine said. This girl has woken something up in you, something I thought was gone. I just do not know how to help her the right way, Marcus admitted. She does not want my charity, and I do not blame her, but what else can I offer? Respect, Catherine said simply. Opportunity, a chance to succeed on her own terms, not yours. That is what you would want if you were in her position, is it not? Marcus thought about this. Catherine was right again. If Marcus had been in Emma's position, he would not want someone to rescue him. He would want someone to give him the tools and opportunities to rescue himself. He would want his dignity intact. How do I do that? Marcus asked. I do not know, Catherine said. But you are smart. You will figure it out. The next day, Marcus drove to Brooklyn for his meeting with Mrs. Chen. He did not take James. He drove himself in his regular car, not one of his expensive ones. He did not want to show up looking like a billionaire who was there to save everyone. He wanted to show up as a person who was there to learn and to help. The Shelter Music Initiative was in a small building near a community center. The neighborhood was old and run down. There was trash on some of the sidewalks. Many of the buildings needed paint. It was so different from the parts of Manhattan where Marcus spent his time. Inside, the office was small and cramped. There were posters on the walls showing different instruments, a few old couches in the waiting area, a bulletin board covered with photos of smiling young people holding violins and trumpets and guitars. Mrs. Chen came out to greet him. She looked different than she had at the gala. More casual, more relaxed. She shook his hand and led him back to her small office. Thank you for coming, Mr. Wellington, she said. I must admit I was surprised by your call. We do not usually get personal visits from our major donors. I wanted to see the program for myself, Marcus said. And please call me Marcus, Mrs. Chen smiled. All right, Marcus. Let me tell you about what we do here. For the next hour, Mrs. Chen explained the program. They worked with young people from shelters, foster care, and low-income neighborhoods. They provided free music lessons, instruments, and a safe place to practice. Mrs. Chen smiled proudly. All our students are good. They work very hard. They have to. Life does not give them the luxury of taking their talent for granted. Marcus thought about that. He had taken so many things for granted in his life. His education, his opportunities, his safety. Emma and these other students had none of those things, yet they still worked hard. They still created beauty. They still hoped. Does Emma come here to practice? Marcus asked, trying to sound casual. Mrs. Chen gave him a knowing look. She does. She was here yesterday, in fact. She practices almost every day. What time does she usually come? I am not going to tell you that, Mrs. Chen said firmly. Emma made it very clear that she does not want to meet you. I have to respect that, Marcus nodded. He had expected that answer. I understand. But Mrs. Chen, I need you to know something. I am not trying to assuage my guilt by throwing money at this situation. I genuinely want to help, not just Emma, but all your students. I want to do something real and lasting. Mrs. Chen studied his face for a long moment. Why? She asked simply. Because I heard Emma play, Marcus said. And it changed something in me. I realized how many people I have walked past without really seeing them. How many opportunities I have missed to make a real difference because I was too focused on my own life. I do not want to be that person anymore. Mrs. Chen nodded slowly. That is a good answer. But you should know, Marcus, that helping is harder than it sounds. These young people do not need saviors. They need allies. They need people who will support them without trying to control them. Can you do that? I can try, Marcus said honestly. I will probably make mistakes, but I want to try. All right, Mrs. Chen said. Then let's talk about how you can really help. They spent another 2 hours discussing the program's needs. Marcus took detailed notes. By the end of the meeting, he had a plan forming in his mind. It was ambitious, but it was possible. As Marcus was getting ready to leave, Mrs. Chen walked him to the door. You know, she said, Emma will be performing at a public concert in Central Park this Friday. It is a free event. Anyone can attend. I'm not telling you to go, but I'm not telling you to go if you understand me. Marcus smiled. I understand. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Call me Linda, she said. And Marcus. Do not expect Emma to be happy to see you if you do go. She is still angry about what happened. She has every right to be. I know, Marcus said. I just want to hear her play again. That is all. Marcus drove home thinking about everything he had learned. When he got back to his penthouse, he went straight to his office and started making phone calls. He called his lawyer. He called his accountant. He called his financial advisor. By the end of the day, he had started the process of setting up a foundation. Not just any foundation, a real one with real programs and real help for young people in situations like Emma's. It would take time to set up properly, but Marcus had already decided to commit $10 million to start. Maybe more later, but he knew this was not enough. Money was easy for him. Writing a check was easy. What was hard was changing himself, changing how he saw the world, changing how he treated people. Over the next few days, Marcus did something he had never done before. He went for walks in different neighborhoods, not the rich neighborhoods where he usually spent his time, but neighborhoods like the one where Linda's program was located, neighborhoods where people struggled, where life was hard. He paid attention in a way he never had before. He saw homeless people on the sidewalks, but now he really saw them. He wondered about their stories. What had happened to them? What talents might they have? What dreams had they given up? He saw children playing in parks with broken equipment. He saw teenagers standing on corners with nothing to do. He saw elderly people sitting alone on benches. All these people that he had looked past his entire life were suddenly visible to him. It was uncomfortable. It made him sad and angry at the same time. Sad for all the suffering he saw. Angry that he had spent 52 years not caring about it. On Friday evening, Marcus told Catherine he was going out. He did not tell her where. He got in his car and drove to Central Park. The concert was at the Naumburg Bandshell, an outdoor theater in the park. When Marcus arrived, there were already about 200 people sitting on the lawn in front of the stage. It was a mixed crowd. Some were dressed nicely, like they came from nearby expensive apartments. Others looked like they did not have much money. There were families with children. There were elderly couples. There were young people sitting on blankets. Everyone was just there to enjoy free music on a nice evening. Marcus found a spot toward the back and sat down on the grass. He felt out of place. He was wearing a polo shirt and khakis, trying to look casual, but he still felt like people could tell he did not belong there, that he was an outsider. The concert started with a small orchestra made up of students from various city programs. They played well. Marcus clapped along with everyone else. Then Linda Chen walked onto the stage and took the microphone. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she said. "Our next performer is someone very special. She has overcome incredible obstacles to be here today. Please welcome Emma Rodriguez." Emma walked onto the stage. Marcus's heart started beating faster. She was wearing jeans and a simple white shirt. Her hair was down around her shoulders. She looked nervous but determined. She sat down at the piano on the stage. The park got quiet. Emma placed her hands on the keys, and then she started to play. It was a different piece than what she had played at Carnegie Hall, but it was just as beautiful. Maybe more beautiful because it was outside under the open sky with the trees around them, and the sunset painting the clouds orange and pink. Marcus watched Emma's face as she played. Her eyes were closed. Her whole body moved with the music. She was somewhere else, somewhere where there was no pain, no struggle, no cruelty. Just beauty, just music, just truth. And Marcus understood something in that moment. Emma did not need him. She did not need his money or his charity or his guilt. She had this. She had her music. She had her talent. She had her strength. All she needed was a chance. A real chance. The kind of chance that Marcus had been given his whole life without even realizing it. When Emma finished playing, the crowd erupted in applause. Marcus stood up with everyone else, clapping until his hands hurt. Emma stood and bowed. She smiled, and it was the first time Marcus had seen her really smile. It transformed her face. She looked young and happy and full of life. Then Emma's eyes scanned the crowd, and they stopped on Marcus. He was standing there in the back, still clapping. Their eyes met across the distance. Emma's smile disappeared. Her face became hard. She stared at him for a long moment. Then she looked away and walked off the stage. Marcus's hands stopped clapping. His heart sank. She had seen him, and she was not happy about it. After the concert ended, people started leaving. Marcus stayed where he was, not sure what to do. Should he try to find Emma? Should he just go home? He did not want to make her uncomfortable. But he also felt like he needed to talk to her, to apologize, to explain, to somehow make this right. He was still trying to decide when he saw Linda Chen walking toward him across the grass. She did not look happy. She saw you, Linda said when she reached him. I know, Marcus said. I am sorry. I just wanted to hear her play. I was not going to bother her. Well, she knows you are here now, Linda said, and she is angry. She thinks you are stalking her. Marcus felt terrible. I am not, I swear. I cannot explain it. I needed to hear her play again, Linda sighed. Look, Marcus, I know you are trying to help. I can see that you are sincere. But you need to understand something. Emma has been hurt by a lot of adults in her life. Adults who made promises and broke them. Adults who pretended to care but did not. She does not trust easily. And she especially does not trust rich people who suddenly want to help her after treating her badly. What do I do? Marcus asked. How do I make this right? Honestly? Linda said. I do not know if you can. Not right now. Emma needs time. And she needs to see that you are serious about changing. Not just about her, but about how you see the world. Talk is cheap, Marcus. Actions matter. I am setting up a foundation, Marcus said, for young people like Emma, to help them get stable housing, education, support. I have committed $10 million so far. Linda's eyes widened. That is wonderful, Marcus, truly. But you need to understand that Emma will not care about that. She will see it as you trying to buy your way out of guilt. What she needs to see is that you have actually changed, that you are not the same man who laughed at her on the street. How do I show her that? Marcus asked. I do not know, Linda said. But I do know this. It will not happen quickly. Real change takes time, and it happens in small actions, not grand gestures. Linda started to walk away, then turned back. Emma is leaving for the night. She is taking the subway back to the shelter where she is staying. I suggest you do not follow her. Give her space, Marcus. That is the kindest thing you can do right now. Marcus nodded. Thank you, Linda, for everything. He watched Linda walk away. Then he looked toward the stage where Emma had played. The piano was still there, silent now. The sun was setting behind the trees, casting long shadows across the grass. Marcus did not sleep well that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Emma's face. The way she had looked at him in Central Park. The way her smile had disappeared when she recognized him. The cold, hard expression that replaced it. She had been so happy, and then she saw him, and that happiness vanished. He got out of bed at 3 in the morning and went to his office. He sat in the dark for a while, just thinking. Then he turned on his computer and started searching. He wanted to know everything about Emma Rodriguez. Her background, her history, her story. But the internet gave him very little. There was a mention of her in a local news article from 2 years ago. She had won a youth music competition. The photo showed a younger Emma, maybe 14 years old, smiling and holding a small trophy. She looked so different then. Hopeful. Innocent. Still believing that the world was fair. Marcus searched for more but found almost nothing. Emma was not on social media. There were no other news articles. It was like she had disappeared after that one competition. Marcus understood why now. That was when everything had fallen apart for her. When she had to leave her foster home with the piano. When she had to drop out of music school. When her life had started to unravel. He needed to know more. But how? He could not ask Emma directly. She did not want to talk to him. Linda had told him bits and pieces, but there was so much he did not know. Marcus picked up his phone and called someone he had not talked to in years. Patricia would not be awake yet, but Marcus needed help from someone else. Someone with connections in the city government. Someone who could access records that Marcus could not. The phone rang 4 times before a tired voice answered. Do you know what time it is? The voice said, I know, Robert. I am sorry, but I need your help. Robert Harrison had been Marcus's college roommate 30 years ago. Now he was a lawyer who worked with the city on foster care cases. Marcus had not talked to him in at least 5 years, but desperate times called for desperate measures. Marcus, what is going on? Is everything okay? Robert sounded more awake now, concerned. I need information about someone in the foster care system, Marcus said. A 16-year-old girl named Emma Rodriguez. Can you help me? There was a long pause. Marcus, you know I cannot share confidential information about minors in the system. That is illegal. What is this about? Marcus had expected this. I know you cannot share official records. But Robert, this is important. This girl is incredibly talented. She needs help.
I want to help her, but I need to understand her situation first. Why?
Robert asked. Why this specific girl? What is your interest in her? Marcus told him. He told him about seeing Emma on the street, about what he had said to her, about hearing her play at Carnegie Hall and in Central Park, about how he could not stop thinking about her situation, about wanting to make things right. When he finished, Robert was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That is quite a story. Look, I cannot give you official records, but let me see what I can find out through unofficial channels. Give me until Monday. I will call you back." "Thank you, Robert," Marcus said. "I owe you." "Yes, you do," Robert said. "Maybe start by not calling me at 3 in the morning." After they hung up, Marcus sat in his office and watched the sun come up over the city. The sky turned from black to gray to pink to blue. Another day was beginning. Somewhere out there, Emma was waking up in a shelter. Or maybe she had not slept at all. Marcus had read that many homeless young people stayed awake at night because it was safer. The thought made him sick. When Catherine woke up, she found Marcus still in his office, surrounded by papers and notes. She stood in the doorway, looking at him with concern. "Marcus, did you sleep at all?" "Not really," he admitted. Catherine walked over and put her hand on his shoulder. "You cannot keep doing this to yourself. This obsession with this girl is not healthy." "It is not obsession," Marcus said, though maybe it was. "It is responsibility. I need to make this right, Catherine. I need to help her." "Why her specifically?" Catherine asked.
There are thousands of homeless young people in this city.
"Why are you fixated on this one girl?" It was the same question Robert had asked. The same question Marcus kept asking himself. "Why Emma? Why not all the others?" "Because I saw her," Marcus said finally. "I looked right at her and I judged her and I was cruel to her. And then I learned who she really was and I realized how wrong I had been. If I do not help her, if I do not try to make this right, then what does that say about me? That I am okay with being that person who laughs at hungry people?" Catherine sat down in the chair across from him. "You are trying to absolve your guilt." "Maybe," Marcus said. "But maybe that's okay. Maybe feeling guilty about doing something wrong is a good thing if it makes you try to do something right. Just do not expect her to forgive you," Catherine said quietly. "You cannot force that, Marcus. No matter how much you help her, she may never forgive you for what you said, and you need to be okay with that." Marcus nodded. Catherine was right. He needed to help Emma because it was the right thing to do, not because he expected forgiveness or gratitude in return. Emma did not owe him anything. He owed her. The weekend passed slowly. Marcus spent most of it researching youth homelessness, foster care, and music education. He read stories that broke his heart. Young people sleeping in subway cars. Teenagers aging out of the foster care system with no family, no money, no support. Talented kids giving up on their dreams because survival had to come first. He also worked on his foundation plans. He met with his lawyer on Saturday morning to discuss the legal structure. He talked to his financial advisor about how to invest the money so it would last and grow. He started making a list of programs the foundation could support, but through it all, he kept thinking about Emma. Where was she right now? What was she doing? Was she safe? Was she practicing her music somewhere? Was she thinking about him at all? Or had she already forgotten about the rich man who had been cruel to her once? Monday finally arrived. Marcus went to his office but could not focus on work. He kept checking his phone, waiting for Robert to call. Finally, at 2 in the afternoon, his phone rang. "Marcus, I did some digging," Robert said. "I talked to a few people I know in the system. I cannot give you official records, but I can tell you what I learned." "Thank you, Robert. Tell me." Emma Rodriguez entered foster care 8 years ago after her mother died from cancer. The father was not in the picture, apparently had addiction issues and could not care for her. Emma was placed with several different families over the years. Some placements were okay, some were not. Marcus listened, his chest tight. 3 years ago, she was placed with a family in Queens, the Hendersons. They were a good family, according to the records. They had a piano, and Emma started teaching herself to play. She was doing well in school, too. She even got a scholarship to a prestigious music program. "What happened?" Marcus asked, though he already knew it would not be good. "The Hendersons had to relocate to California for a job," Robert said. "They wanted to take Emma with them, but there were legal complications. The paperwork did not go through in time. Emma was reassigned to a different foster home in the Bronx. too far from her music school. Her grades dropped because of the stress of moving. She eventually stopped going to school altogether. And the new family? Marcus asked. Robert paused. Not great. There were allegations of neglect. Nothing was ever proven, but Emma requested to be moved. She was placed in a temporary group home 6 months ago. She is supposed to age out of the system in a few months when she turns 17. After that, she will be on her own. Marcus felt anger rising in him. Not at anyone specific, but at the whole system. At a world that let this happen to children. What else did you find out? Emma is exceptionally bright, Robert said. Before everything fell apart, she was an honor student. She won several academic awards in addition to that music competition. Her teachers all said she was special. But when the support systems failed her, she could not keep up. That is what happens, Marcus. These kids are not failing. The systems are failing them. What about now? Marcus asked. Where is she living? The temporary group home in Brooklyn, Robert said. It is supposed to be okay, but there are 12 kids there and only 2 adults supervising. Emma spends as little time there as possible from what I heard. She's scared of some of the other residents. Marcus wanted to punch something. A 16-year-old girl should not have to be scared in the place where she was supposed to be safe. Is there anything else? Marcus asked. Just one more thing, Robert said. Emma has been saving money. Working odd jobs here and there. Cleaning, babysitting, whatever she can find. She has been trying to save up for the GED test and for a deposit on a room somewhere. But every time she gets close to her goal, something happens. Someone steals her money. Or she has to spend it on something urgent like medicine or food. She can never get ahead. Marcus felt his eyes getting wet. He blinked hard. Thank you for finding all this out, Robert. I appreciate it. What are you going to do? Robert asked. I do not know yet, Marcus said honestly. But I am going to do something. After he hung up with Robert, Marcus sat at his desk for a long time. He thought about Emma at 8 years old, losing her mother. They arranged to meet at Linda's office on Friday afternoon. After they hung up, Marcus felt a little bit better. He was doing something. It might not fix everything. It might not make Emma forgive him. But it was something real. Something that could help. That afternoon, Marcus did something he had never done before. He volunteered at a soup kitchen in the Bronx. He did not tell anyone he was coming. He just showed up and asked if they needed help. They put him to work serving food. For 3 hours, Marcus stood behind a counter and ladled soup into bowls. He handed out bread and water. He looked into the faces of people who were hungry and homeless and struggling. Some were old, some were young, some were families with children, and Marcus saw himself in a new way. He saw how easy it would have been for him to end up on the other side of that counter. If his parents had not been supportive, if he had not gone to a good school, if he had not had opportunities, if he had gotten sick at the wrong time or lost his job during a recession, or made one bad decision that spiraled out of control, the line between success and failure was thinner than he had ever realized. It was not just about hard work. It was about luck and timing and support systems and a million other things that Marcus had always taken for granted. One woman came through the line with 3 children. The youngest was maybe 4 years old. The woman looked exhausted. Her clothes were clean but old. She thanked Marcus quietly when he gave her food. Her children did not say anything. They just held their trays and looked at the food like it was the most important thing in the world. Marcus watched them sit down at a table and start eating. The mother gave most of her food to her children. She barely ate anything herself. Marcus felt something break inside him. After his shift ended, he talked to the soup kitchen manager. Her name was Gloria, and she had been running the place for 20 years. What is the biggest problem you face? Marcus asked her. Gloria laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. Where do I start? We do not have enough food. We do not have enough space. We do not have enough volunteers. We do not have enough funding. We turn people away every day because we just do not have enough of anything. What would help most? Marcus asked. Money, Gloria said simply. I know that sounds crude, but it is the truth. With more money, we could buy more food, hire more staff, expand our space, help more people. Everything comes down to resources, and we do not have enough. Marcus nodded. What if I told you I could give you $100,000 right now? What would you do with it? Gloria stared at him. Are you serious? Yes, Marcus said. I am very serious, Gloria's eyes filled with tears. We could feed twice as many people. We could stay open 7 days a week instead of 5. We could start a program to help people find jobs and housing, not just feed them. We could change lives. Then consider it done, Marcus said. I will have my assistant contact you tomorrow with the details. Gloria grabbed his hand with both of hers. Thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means. But Marcus thought maybe he did know. For the first time in his life, he understood that money was not just numbers in a bank account. It was power. Power to change things. Power to help people. Power to make the world a little bit less cruel. He had always had this power, but he had never really used it. Not like this. Not in a way that mattered. When Marcus got home that evening, Catherine took one look at him and said, You volunteered somewhere today, did you not? How did you know? Marcus asked. Because you look different, Catherine said. You look like you saw something that changed you. Marcus told her about the soup kitchen, about the mother and her 3 children, about Gloria and the work she did with almost no resources, about how he felt serving food to people who desperately needed it. I have been so blind, Marcus said. I have walked past suffering every day and never really seen it. How did I become this person, Catherine? When did I stop caring? You did not stop caring, Catherine said gently. You just forgot how to see. But you are remembering now. That is what matters. That night, Marcus dreamed about Emma. In the dream, she was playing piano in the middle of a vast, empty space. The music echoed endlessly. Marcus was trying to reach her, but no matter how fast he walked, she stayed the same distance away. He called out to her, but she could not hear him over the music. He woke up with tears on his face. The next day, Marcus met with Linda at her office. He brought a detailed proposal for the scholarship program he wanted to create. Linda read through it carefully, making notes. This is good, Marcus, she said finally. Really good. But I have some suggestions. For the next 2 hours, they worked together to refine the program. Linda explained what young people like Emma really needed. Not just money, but support, mentorship, someone to help them navigate systems that were designed to be confusing, someone to advocate for them when things went wrong. The system is not set up to help these kids succeed, Linda explained. It is set up to process them, to move them through. Nobody has time to really see them as individuals, so they fall through the cracks and we act surprised when they end up homeless or in trouble. How do we fix that? Marcus asked. We cannot fix the whole system, Linda said, but we can create something better, something that treats these young people with dignity and respect, something that believes in them even when nobody else does. By the end of the meeting, they had a solid plan. Marcus would fund a comprehensive program through his foundation. It would be open to any young person who was homeless, in foster care, or otherwise unstable, and who showed talent or passion in any field, not just music. The program would provide housing support with host families who were carefully screened and trained, financial assistance for education, whether that was GED programs, vocational training, or college, counseling and mental health support, life skills training like budgeting, cooking, and job searching, mentorship from professionals in the young person's field of interest, and most importantly, respect and autonomy. The young people would make their own decisions with guidance, not have decisions made for them. This is going to help a lot of people, Linda said, smiling. I am proud of you, Marcus. This is real. This matters. There is just one problem, Marcus said. The person who inspired all of this does not want my help. Emma will not even talk to me, Linda sighed. I know, and I do not think that is going to change anytime soon. Emma has been hurt too many times by adults who promised things and did not follow through. She does not trust easily. What do I do? Marcus asked. You keep doing this work, Linda said. You help all the other young people who need it. You show through your actions over time that you have really changed. Maybe eventually Emma will see that. Or maybe she will not. But you cannot do this work just for her. You have to do it because it is right. Marcus knew Linda was correct, but it still hurt. He wanted Emma to know that he was sorry, that he understood now, that he was trying to be better. But wanting her to know and her actually knowing were two different things. Can I ask you something? Marcus said. How is Emma doing? I know you cannot tell me everything, but is she okay? Linda looked at him for a long moment, deciding how much to share. She is managing. She practices here almost every day. She is studying for her GED. She is trying to stay positive. But it is hard, Marcus. She is so young and she has so much weight on her shoulders. She should be worried about normal teenage things, not where she is going to sleep or what she is going to eat. The scholarship program, Marcus said. If Emma applies, will you encourage her to do so? If she applies, yes, Linda said. But I cannot force her to apply. That has to be her choice, Marcus nodded. He understood. He could not force anything with Emma. All he could do was create opportunities and hope that she chose to take them. Over the next week, Marcus threw himself into the work of setting up the foundation. He hired a director to run it. He put together a board of advisors that included Linda, Robert, and several other people who worked with homeless youth. He rented office space and hired staff. He created application processes and screening procedures. He also kept volunteering. He went back to the soup kitchen twice more. He volunteered at a homeless shelter, helping to organize donations. He spent an afternoon at a job training center, talking to young people about career opportunities in technology. And every time he volunteered, he learned something new. He met people who were working 2 jobs but still could not afford rent. He met teenagers who were brilliant but had dropped out of school because they had to work to help their families. He met talented artists and musicians and writers who had given up on their dreams because survival had to come first. Each person had a story. Each person had value. Each person deserved dignity and opportunity. Marcus had spent 52 years not really seeing this. Now he could not unsee it. 2 weeks after his meeting with Linda, the foundation was officially established. Marcus held a small press conference to announce it. He explained what the foundation would do and why. He talked about the young people it would serve. He did not mention Emma by name. He did not tell the story of what he had said to her. He thought about it, thought maybe sharing his mistake publicly would show that he had learned from it, but Linda advised him not to. 3 weeks after the press conference, Marcus was in his office when Patricia buzzed him. "Mr. Wellington, there is a Linda Chen here to see you. She says it is important." Marcus's heart jumped. "Send her in immediately." Linda walked into his office looking serious. Marcus stood up quickly. "Is Emma okay?" he asked before Linda could say anything. "She is fine," Linda said. "Physically at least. But something happened that I thought you should know about." Marcus gestured for Linda to sit down. His stomach was tight with worry. "The group home where Emma was staying had a problem," Linda explained. "There was a fight between some of the residents. Emma was not involved, but she was scared. She left and has been sleeping on the subway for the past 3 nights. Marcus felt sick. "Why did she not come to your program?" "Or to a shelter?" "Pride," Linda said simply. She did not want to admit she was scared. She did not want to ask for help. "You have to understand, Marcus, Emma has been let down so many times. Asking for help means trusting people, and trust is very hard for her." "What can I do?" Marcus asked. "That is why I am here," Linda said. "Emma finally admitted to me what was going on. I told her about the Foundation's housing program, about the host families we have been screening, about how it would work. And Marcus, she is interested. She is actually considering applying." Marcus felt hope rising in his chest. "Really?" "Yes," Linda said. "But there is a problem. She knows you founded the program. She is worried that if she applies, she will be accepting help from you specifically. And she is still angry at you. She still does not trust you." The hope deflated quickly. "So what do I do?" "You do nothing," Linda said firmly. "That is the point. The foundation has a process. Applications go through a committee that includes me and several other people. You are not supposed to be involved in choosing individual recipients. If Emma applies and meets the criteria, she gets the scholarship. It has nothing to do with you personally. Do you understand?" Marcus understood. "You want me to stay out of it completely?" "Exactly," Linda said. "If Emma is going to accept this opportunity, it has to be on her own terms. She has to feel like she earned it, not like it was charity from you. Can you do that? Can you let the process work without interfering?" "Yes," Marcus said without hesitation. "Whatever is best for Emma, I will do it," Linda smiled. "Good. I will let her know that applications are being accepted and that she should apply if she is interested. The rest is up to her." After Linda left, Marcus sat at his desk feeling anxious and hopeful at the same time. Emma might apply. She might accept help. She might get the stability and support she deserved, but Marcus would have no control over it. He would just have to wait and trust the process he had created. It was harder than he expected. Over the next week, Marcus forced himself to focus on other things. He visited 3 more soup kitchens and made donations to each. He met with the director of a youth job training program to discuss a partnership. He attended a fundraiser for a homeless advocacy organization. He kept himself busy, but he thought about Emma constantly. Had she applied? Was she safe? Was she still sleeping on the subway? He wanted to call Linda and ask, but he knew he should not. He had promised to stay out of it. He had to trust that the system he had created would work. Finally, 9 days after Linda's visit, she called him. Emma applied, Linda said without preamble. Marcus's heart raced. And? The committee reviewed her application yesterday. She was accepted. She will be placed with a host family next week and will start receiving the full scholarship benefits. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. Thank you, Linda. Thank you for helping her. I did not do it alone, Linda said. You created this opportunity, Marcus. You should be proud. Is she happy about it? Marcus asked. Linda paused. She is relieved. And grateful, I think, though she would not say that out loud. But Marcus, she still does not want to meet you. I told her that you would not be involved in her case at all, and she asked me to promise that was true. I told her it was. Can you keep that promise? Yes, Marcus said. I just want her to be safe and to have a chance. That is all. Good, Linda said. Then this is working the way it should. After they hung up, Marcus sat back in his chair and let out a long breath. Emma was going to be okay. She would have a safe place to live. Money for her GED, support for her music, everything she needed to succeed. And she had not had to humble herself to Marcus to get it. She had applied like anyone else. She had been accepted on her own merits. That was how it should be. Marcus understood that now. Help should not come with strings attached. It should not require people to grovel or beg or be grateful to specific individuals. It should just exist as a resource that anyone could access with dignity. Catherine was thrilled when Marcus told her the news. This is wonderful. You should feel good about this, Marcus. I do, Marcus said. But I also feel like I have so much more to learn. This is just one person. There are thousands more who need help. Then you will help them too, Catherine said. One at a time. That is how change happens. Over the next few months, the foundation grew. 20 young people received scholarships in the first group, including Emma. Marcus met 19 of them at a welcome dinner. He shook their hands and told them he was proud of them. He listened to their stories and their dreams. He saw the hope in their eyes, the relief at finally having support and stability. Emma did not come to the dinner. Linda said she was not ready. Marcus understood. The foundation kept expanding. More host families were recruited and trained. More partnerships with schools and job programs were formed. More young people were helped. Marcus poured his energy and his money into making it work. He also kept volunteering, not for publicity or recognition, but because it kept him grounded. It reminded him why this work mattered. Every week, he spent at least one afternoon at a soup kitchen or shelter or community center. He talked to people. He listened to their stories. He learned from them, and slowly Marcus changed. Not all at once, but gradually. He saw the world differently now. When he walked down the street and passed a homeless person, he did not look away. He looked them in the eye. Sometimes he stopped to talk. He always had cash to give, but more than that, he gave attention. Recognition. Basic human respect. His friends and business associates noticed the change in him. Some admired it. Some thought he had gone a little crazy. Some whispered that he was having a midlife crisis. Marcus did not care what they thought. He knew who he was becoming, and it was better than who he had been. 6 months after Emma had accepted the scholarship, Linda called Marcus with an update. Emma is doing well, Linda said. She passed her GED with flying colors. She has been taking formal piano lessons and practicing every day. Her host family loves her. She is thriving, Marcus. That is wonderful, Marcus said, and he meant it with all his heart. There is something else, Linda said. Emma is going to perform at our annual benefit concert next month. It is a big event. We are expecting 500 people. She agreed to play. I am so happy for her, Marcus said. Are you going to come? Linda asked. Marcus thought about it. He wanted to hear Emma play again. He wanted to see her succeeding, but he also did not want to make her uncomfortable. Will she mind if I am there? He asked. I do not know, Linda said honestly. But Marcus, you are a major donor. You are on the board. It would be strange if you were not there. I think Emma knows that. Then I will come, Marcus said, but I will stay in the back. I will not try to talk to her. The night of the benefit concert arrived. It was at a beautiful venue in Manhattan. The room was filled with well-dressed people, all there to support the program and the young people it served. Marcus sat in the back row, just as he had promised. Catherine was with him. The concert began with several student performances. They were all good, but Marcus was waiting for Emma. Finally, Linda took the stage and introduced her. Our next performer is someone very special, Linda said. When we met her just 8 months ago, she was homeless and uncertain about her future. Today, she has passed her GED, received a full scholarship to the Manhattan Conservatory of Music, and secured a host family placement that will support her through college. Ladies and gentlemen, Emma Rodriguez. The audience applauded as Emma walked onto the stage. She looked so different from the girl Marcus had seen on the sidewalk a year ago. She wore an elegant dress. Her hair was styled, but more than her appearance, it was her bearing that had changed. She walked with confidence. With her head held high, she looked like she belonged there. Emma sat at the piano. Before she began playing, she spoke into the microphone. I want to thank the Shelter Music Initiative for everything they have done for me, Emma said. Her voice was clear and strong. A year ago, I did not think I had a future. I was just trying to survive each day. But this program believed in me when I did not believe in myself. They gave me more than music lessons. They gave me hope. Emma paused and looked out at the audience. Marcus thought maybe her eyes lingered on him for just a second, but he could not be sure. I also want to say something about the scholarship program that has changed my life, Emma continued. When I first heard about it, I did not want to accept it. I was angry and proud. I did not want anyone's charity. Emma, Marcus said, you were incredible tonight. That piece you wrote was beautiful. Thank you, Emma said. She looked uncomfortable but determined. I need to say something to you. Okay, Marcus said, bracing himself. When you saw me on the street that day, Emma began, you said something cruel to me. You laughed at me. You made me feel like I was worthless because I was hungry and homeless and could not earn your compassion. Marcus nodded. I know, I'm so sorry, Emma. I was wrong. I was cruel. I had no right to judge you. Let me finish, Emma said firmly. What you said hurt me, a lot. I was already at my lowest point and you made it worse. I hated you for that. I hated you for a long time. Marcus felt each word like a knife. He deserved this. He needed to hear it. But then something strange happened, Emma continued. You created this foundation, this scholarship program, and I watched it help not just me but other people like me. I watched you volunteer at soup kitchens. I saw you at a homeless shelter one day when you did not know I was there. I heard about all the money you were donating and all the work you were doing. Emma took a deep breath, and I realized something. You actually changed. You did not just write a check to make yourself feel better. You actually became a different person. That is rare, Mr. Wellington. Most people do not change. They just pretend to, but you really did. Marcus did not know what to say. His throat was too tight to speak. I am not saying I forgive you, Emma said. I am not sure I can forgive what you said to me that day. It hurt too much. But I can respect what you have become. And I can be grateful for what you have created, even if it started from guilt. It did start from guilt, Marcus admitted, but it became something more. You showed me how blind I had been. How cruel. You made me see the world differently. I know that does not excuse what I said, but I want you to know that you changed me, Emma. You made me better. Emma nodded slowly. Good, do not waste it. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Do not waste this lesson, Emma said. Do not waste this change. Keep seeing people. Keep helping. Keep being the person you have become, not the person you were. That is how you honor what I went through. Not by asking for my forgiveness, but by making sure what you said to me never defines how you treat anyone else ever again. Marcus felt more tears on his face. I promise. I will never forget this. I will never go back to being that person. Emma looked at him for a long moment. Then she extended her hand. Marcus took it. They shook hands. It was not a hug or a warm reconciliation. It was something more honest than that. An acknowledgement, an understanding between two people who had started in very different places but had both changed because of each other. Thank you for creating the scholarship program, Emma said. It saved my life. Thank you for showing me I needed to change, Marcus said. You saved my life too in a different way. Emma gave him a small smile. Then she turned and walked away, back to the other students and supporters who wanted to congratulate her on her performance. Marcus watched her go. Catherine came back and took his arm. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I am," Marcus said, and he realized it was true. He was okay. Not because Emma had forgiven him, but because he had done the work to become someone worthy of forgiveness, even if it never came fully. That night, as Marcus and Catherine drove home, Marcus thought about everything that had happened over the past year. How one moment of cruelty had led to this complete transformation of his life. How Emma's strength and talent had forced him to see his own failings. How trying to make things right had taught him what truly mattered in life. "What are you thinking about?" Catherine asked. "About how much has changed," Marcus said. "A year ago, I walked past Emma and told her she had to earn her food by entertaining me. I saw her as nothing. Less than nothing. Just an inconvenience on the sidewalk. And now?" Catherine prompted. "Now I see her as someone who taught me more about strength and dignity and human worth than I had learned in 52 years of life," Marcus said. "She was never the one who needed to earn anything from me. I was the one who needed to earn the right to be in her presence." "You have learned a lot," Catherine said softly. "I am still learning," Marcus said. "Every day I learn something new about how much I did not understand. About how much suffering I walked past without seeing. About how many people I judged without knowing their stories." They drove in silence for a while. Then Marcus spoke again. "You know what the strangest thing is? I thought my life was complete before this happened. I thought I had everything I wanted. Money, success, respect. But I was empty, Catherine. I was just going through the motions, making more money for no reason except to make more money, doing deals because that was what I did. But none of it meant anything." "And now it does?" Catherine asked. "Now I wake up every morning with purpose," Marcus said. "I know that the work I do matters, that the foundation is changing lives, that every dollar I earn can be used to help someone who needs it. I am not saying I am a saint. I am still rich and privileged and learning, but at least now my life has meaning beyond just accumulating wealth." Catherine squeezed his hand. "I am proud of you, Marcus. I know that might not matter much, but I am. You could have just written a check and moved on. But you did not. You let this experience change you fundamentally. That takes courage." Marcus thought about that courage. He had never thought of himself as particularly brave, but maybe Catherine was right. Maybe it took courage to admit you were wrong, to change, to become vulnerable, to see your own failings and work to fix them. Over the following years, Marcus's foundation grew and helped hundreds of young people. Emma went to the Manhattan Conservatory of Music on a full scholarship. She graduated at the top of her class. She gave concerts around the world. She became famous for both her technical skill and the emotional depth of her performances. Marcus followed her career from a distance. He went to some of her public concerts, always sitting in the back where she would not notice him. He heard her music get even more beautiful as she grew and developed as an artist. He felt pride, though he had no right to it. Emma's success was her own. She had earned it through her talent and her refusal to give up. They did not become friends. They saw each other occasionally at foundation events, and they were always polite, respectful. But there was still distance between them. Some hurts run too deep to fully heal. Some words, once spoken, leave scars that never completely fade, and Marcus was okay with that. He had learned that redemption was not about erasing the past. It was about learning from it. It was about becoming better. It was about making sure you never repeated your mistakes. He had also learned that sometimes the people you hurt do not owe you forgiveness. Emma did not owe him anything. She had given him respect and acknowledgement, and that was more than he had any right to expect. The foundation became Marcus's legacy, not his company or his wealth, but this program that gave young people like Emma a chance at a better life. Marcus stayed involved with it for the rest of his life. He never stopped volunteering, never stopped learning, never stopped trying to be better. And every time he sat down to work on foundation business, he remembered that day outside La Bella Vista restaurant. He remembered the homeless girl on the sidewalk with the sign that said, "Hungry, anything helps." He remembered his own cruel words. "If you cannot play, no food." He remembered all of it. The shame, the cruelty, the transformation that followed. And he remembered Emma's final words to him at the benefit concert, "Do not waste it. He did not waste it. He honored that lesson every single day for the rest of his life.
He saw people.
He helped people. He treated everyone with dignity and respect, regardless of their circumstances, because Emma had taught him something essential. Everyone has value. Everyone has a story. Everyone deserves to be seen as a full human being, not judged by a moment in time or a circumstance beyond their control. That was the gift Emma had given him, though she probably did not see it that way. She had forced him to see his own humanity by making him see hers. She had shown him that true wealth was not measured in money but in compassion, in connection, in the ability to see others and care about their well-being. Years later, when Marcus was much older, a reporter interviewed him about his foundation and asked him why he had started it. Marcus thought about that day on the sidewalk, about Emma's eyes looking up at him, about the cruel words he had spoken, about everything that had happened since. "I started it," Marcus said carefully, "because I met someone who showed me I had been living my life wrong, someone who taught me what really matters, someone who refused to let circumstances define her worth. And I wanted to create opportunities for more people like her, people who just need a chance, who just need someone to see them and believe in them." The reporter asked who that person was, but Marcus did not say Emma's name. That was her story to tell, not his. He had learned that much at least. What Marcus did say was this: the biggest lie we tell ourselves is that people who are struggling deserve their struggles. That if you are homeless or poor or suffering, you must have done something wrong. But the truth is so much more complicated. Life is about luck and timing and support systems that most of us take for granted.